everyone. My name is Professor Mezzio. I'm a faculty in the Pace University Lubin School of Business in the accounting department. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Anabelle Capois Espinal. She is an amazing graduate student in our MBA program at Lubin. And what we're going to do today is hear a little bit about her story. Anabelle was also a student in one of my classes, so I'm very excited to have the opportunity to interview Anabelle today. So welcome, Anabelle. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Anabelle. I've been a PACE MBA student for the last year. I started in August, and I have one more year to go. My concentration is in strategy and international business. I had the pleasure of having Professor Mezzio in accounting at Friday night, so it was a very exciting class.
Yes, it was.
But he made it fun. He made it bearable.
Thank you.
Yeah, but prior to that, I was actually working for a nonprofit organization that facilitated international student exchanges for high school age students. I was with them for about 5 years. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic and nobody traveling, that had to change. And for working for them, I completed my bachelor's degree at Ursinus College in Pennsylvania. I did business and economics in German. And currently, I'm actually interning for Pfizer as their summer intern for the transformation and project management team. And that's part of their global business services unit.
Very exciting, Anabelle. Anabelle, I'd like to talk a little bit about your internship. But before we do that, how did you wind up attending Pace University following your previous degree?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to get my MBA. That was something that I had as a goal in mind. During the pandemic, since we were working from home for a few months, it kind of gave me the time to reflect about where I wanted to be headed in life, how I wanted to grow professionally. And I started looking into different MBA programs, and I knew the PACE main because I was a 10-minute walk from there. My office at the time was a 10-minute walk from there. I'm like, oh, that would be super convenient for taking evening classes. And then my roommate at the time, she was my roommate of 5 years, we're best friends. She used to PACE alum and was always talking about how great the program was for her. You know, hearing her experience, the convenience of the location, the affordability of the program, and also the fast-paced MBA came about during that time. So I was like, everything is aligning. It's perfect. Let me go for it. Yeah. So I went ahead and applied and got in. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this.
Excellent. You know, Pace, Lubin, particularly, but Pace University has always been very involved with internships and promoting internships for students. And even at the time, way back when I went to Pace, it was still a very high priority obtaining internships. And so you're at Pfizer, which many people in the world know who Pfizer is now, based on the pandemic. But you're in a really fascinating group. I think you mentioned it was the transformation group. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got the internship and about what you're doing?
Yeah, so I started looking for internships around May, which I thought was pretty late to be looking for an internship. Yeah. And there were a lot that were being posted around that time. But for the Pfizer internship, I actually got a notification from Handshake. And I just saw global business services, project management, Pfizer. I was like, perfect. As soon as I saw the notification, I applied, and it was an easy process. I just submitted my resume. Within 2 weeks, they got in touch with me to set up an interview. And then a week after my interview, I found out that I got the role. So it was a pretty fast moving process. And during my interview, I actually found out that the internship was made possible by a PACE alum. So Doug Aman is the VP of the Transformation and Project Management team. And he wanted to pay it forward to the PACE community by having this opportunity for PACE students. And I was one of the lucky ones.
What a wonderful story. Yeah. You know, if you're not giving anything away confidential, can you tell us a little bit about some of the projects you're working on or some of the things you're doing?
Yeah. So what I really like about the internship is that they had some projects that we can be involved in, but they encouraged us to keep connecting with people across the entire company and ask them for opportunities. So that's what I'm doing. I'm only 4 weeks into my internship, almost 4 weeks into my internship. So I'm still kind of getting my footing a little bit. But for the most part, I'm working on a mergers and acquisition project. That's pretty big. And so being able to be on calls for that and see every aspect of what goes down when you're trying to make these deals, and especially for such a big company, has been really exciting. And being able to apply some of the things that I learned in the classroom to being able to understand what they're talking about. And we're also working with the innovation team, kind of doing research on different things, different technologies to provide to the leadership team, so they're aware of what's going on, what's out there that could help the business move forward. So it's really exciting stuff.
It's an incredible opportunity, and with such a major international company. And I'll say, now, hopefully now as the pandemic sort of eases, hopefully that you'll get to get there and see, live in person. I think they have a huge office in Midtown, I think.
I actually went yesterday.
Excellent. I've been to that office, actually.
They were able to get us in for one day. Obviously, the office is empty because they're not required to be in office yet. Right. But they wanted us to kind of, have a tour, have a little bit of a feel of what it was like. So we went yesterday and spent the whole day over there, had lunch with the team, and everybody's just as nice in person as they were virtually.
So Anabelle, tell me a little bit about engagement with, given the pandemic, it's been difficult to be engaged with the university, but is there anything that you could share about how you've tried to engage with the university?
So one of the intimidating things of deciding to start grad school in the middle of the pandemic is the fact that, you weren't going to have that physical interaction with people and be able to form those connections. So that was definitely a thought. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to try to, participate in some events that the school organizes and try to be involved. I hesitated a little bit at the beginning. I attended some events like from the career services office or clubs that I was interested in. And I thought they were really interesting. So then the following semester, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm ready. I did really good the previous semester. So I'm like, okay, I can handle my schoolwork. So now I can handle extra stuff on top of that. So I ended up joining the Strategy and International Business Club. And also Lubin Women in Leadership. So it's been really exciting to get together with the students that are part of the club, the students that come to the events, and also alumni that we end up having at some of our events. And, we just form all of these connections all around. And I think that's been really great for having to do school virtually because, you get to interact with people that maybe you wouldn't have gotten the chance to interact with. So it's been really, really great to use those resources that are available.
For sure. I find students tell me often, just as you just did, that you not only build relationships while you're in school, those relationships sort of last even after you graduate and extend on into your professional careers. All of the Lubin organizations, all of the business school organizations, it's the same philosophy Lubin has for internships is to encourage students like you to not just join an organization, but also try to be active in the organization, joining the executive board, the e-board as you did. And we find that recruiters come back always and say to us that they just really embrace students that are actively involved in student organizations, because it's really like being in a company, right? When you're in the student clubs, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed that with being in my internship, a lot of those skills that I've been kind of refining through being part of these clubs are coming in handy, especially being able to ask questions, because we would do Q&As with our guest speakers. So now I know to be prepared with questions whenever we have any sort of event at Pfizer, and it really helps me stand out as one of the interns.
Yeah, and in fact, all the clubs, all the student organizations, they bring in these not only they bring in alumni, but the alumni, as well as external speakers from companies like Pfizer, companies like PwC, companies like Coca-Cola, and it's just, for students, it's just an amazing opportunity, not just to network, but to just hear, from young professionals or from more experienced professionals, just what the path has been like since graduating from college, and just great learning, I think, really. Yeah,
and that's definitely what has helped kind of guide me in the last year, just being able to hear everybody else's story. Like, that's the main thing about networking. You get to hear how everybody got to where they are, and get some kind of tips and tricks on what to do for your own path. So it's been very, very valuable.
Well, we're going to have a young student listening to your story, young students listening to your story, and they're going to be galvanized and motivated by it. I can assure
Hopefully, that's the goal.
I can assure you. Sometimes students, when they're in school, they have when they start school, they sort of have a plan. And then while they're in school, based on the experiences like the ones you're having that you described, they sort of start to change a little bit in terms of maybe their internship changes their mind a bit. So tell me, what's your career, what are your goals now looking forward, and at least for now, and have they changed since you started school?
They definitely changed. So I was still considering staying in the nonprofit field when I initially decided to do my MBA. That was the goal. But, as I thought more about it, I wanted to, grow more professionally, see more of the business side of things, and work with a multinational company. And there are many great multinational nonprofit organizations, but I knew that in order for my professional development to be a little bit what I'm expecting, I needed to probably make a shift. So when I got this internship, it was just like, this is perfect. I'll be able to see what it's like and determine if the private sector is for me or not. Because you have this idea in your head of this is what corporate America is like, and you think certain personalities don't fit in that, and it turns out that I fit perfectly into that world. So it's been very eye-opening. So one of the benefits of working with Pfizer is, being able to, again, hear the stories of these people, how they got there. And the main consensus is you never know what you want to be when you grow up, even if you're a VP at the company. you're still kind of taking whatever life throws at you. If there's an opportunity that you're scared to take on, if you know you're going to grow from it, then you should still take it. Those are the things the type of advice that I really value. And if one of the other positive things that everybody doesn't stay in the same lane, they venture to different positions, and they don't go necessarily up, they go sideways and every other direction, but they learn so much more from that. And, whatever works for you, and Pfizer fosters that. They want people to form long careers and, venture into different departments, different areas, and learn and grow. So I'm hoping to continue kind of seeing what the project management world has to bring. Is at least something that I'm exploring more now to continue following that path for the next year or so. And if I end up realizing, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm open to, trying something else. And that's what's important, just being open to trying something else and learning.
That's such a smart perspective, Anabelle. And, I think you have a great approach to this by basically saying, look, I'm just going to keep learning, which is what we all have to do, no matter what the age. But I think the other thing too, I'd like to add about charitable organizations versus non-for-profits and maybe more traditional companies. The differences are starting slowly to become a little bit less, and I say that because this whole movement in environmental and social responsibility, ESG, sustainability, whatever the term that's most popular. Businesses are taking, looking at themselves in the mirror now and saying, we have to be more responsible to society. We have to be more responsible to the environment. Mm-hmm. And we have to, it sounds like a cliche, but we have to make the world better. And they're really starting to put serious action behind that. So you can even in a traditional company now sort of get the same sort of feeling that you were looking for maybe in a charitable organization. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the feeling that I've been getting at Pfizer in the last 4 weeks. Yeah. And it makes my heart happy.
Yeah. So as sort of some final thoughts, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit and tell us a little bit about if you were going to be speaking to maybe a potential student or somebody thinking about going to PACE or to Lubin, what might you say about it? What might you talk about?
I would say you get as much out of Lubin as you put into it, for sure. And that's what I'm glad I noticed early on, because it has paid off during this last year, being able to, use those resources as much as possible. I don't know how many career services appointments I had. And,
Fantastic.
All of the events that I attended and just being able to see different perspectives, talk to people with different concentrations, that really opens up your eyes more to the rest of the world and helps you have a better understanding of yourself. So definitely you will get the most out of the experience if you put the most into it.
Absolutely, Anabelle. And you went, as you mentioned earlier, you and your classmates went through a difficult year because of the pandemic and didn't get the full sort of experience of college or university or graduate school, if you will. And I'm hoping that you do see soon that PACE and Lubin, the focus on internships, the focus on academics, of course, the focus on engagement with student organizations, with alumni, but also I hope you're going to see that once we're live in school again, that the faculty really have an open door policy, and it's not just words, that we really do sort of engage very, very much so with students on a day-to-day basis outside of the classroom. I mean,
Yeah, and that's something that I really appreciated with my professors, especially this last semester. They were just so open and willing to help us out and give us advice. And it wasn't just about, memorize this, do that. It was about, we know it's a tough year. We're here for you. We want you to learn. We want you to thrive. So that having that when you're not sure what the future holds is very important.
It's very exciting. Even your Friday evening at 8:30 professor.
Exactly. Like even that class I look forward to.
Okay. So Anabelle, that was terrific and such a valuable discussion for students that are going to hear this in the future. Do you have any final thoughts before we conclude?
Yeah, I just want to emphasize the importance of networking. It's something that definitely does not come naturally to me. I may seem a little outgoing. I know how to fake it till I make it. But, it's a very valuable skill. And I think Lubin really emphasizes that and tries to get students to refine that skill. So if you have any opportunity to get better at it, go for it because it's going to get you far.
I couldn't agree more. Such a smart piece of advice. So Anabelle, I want to thank you very much for taking the time today. It's going to be a very motivating sort of story that our students hear from this conversation. You motivated me. I feel like going to get an internship at Pfizer right now. But it was a pleasure to have you in class and a pleasure to have this conversation with you today. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything and for being such a great professor.
Thank you. I look forward to staying in touch with you. Be well.
Okay, have a good one.